Due to unforeseen circumstances, Kalilah is unable to host today's program. But don't worry, we still have an awesome show lined up for you. Here's a playback of Kalilah sharing how she built her wealth at the Rotary Club in Mandeville. And the analysts will delve into some hot topics, including a potential NCB dividend-filled Christmas.
Taught me everything you've given me. I always keep it inside. You're the driving force in my life. Yeah. There isn't anything or anyone that I could be, and it just wouldn't feel right. If I didn't have you by my side. Oh, you were there for me to love and care for me when skies were gray. Whenever I was down, you were always there to comfort me. And no one else can be what you have been to me. You will always be. You will always be the girl in my life for all time. Mama, Mama, you know I love you. Ooh, you know I love you, Mama. Mama, you're the queen of my heart. Your love is like tears from the stars. Mama, I just want you to know. Loving you is like food to my soul.
The analysts weigh in on the latest market developments. VM Investments' third quarter results ending September 30 are out. How did they perform? NCB Financial Group is scheduled to meet on November 17, and the payment of a dividend will be recommended for consideration. We'll discuss. But first, here's what's hot, brought to you by JMMB Group, your best interest at heart. NCB Financial Group Chairman Michael Leachin says shareholders will get a dividend payment in time for Christmas. Leachin made the declaration to the Jamaica Observer following news that the company's board is scheduled to vote on the matter this week. According to a statement from NCB, the board of directors will vote on a recommendation for a dividend payment on Friday. NCBFG has not paid dividends in over 2 years. The company, which has a banking, insurance, and investment arm, has over 44,000 shareholders. Supreme Ventures is expanding its financial service arm of the business by entering the remittance market. The company, through its subsidiary Supreme Ventures FinTech, recently received a primary agent license from the Bank of Jamaica to operate as a remittance agency. Supreme Ventures is partnering with Lasco Financial's Ria Money Transfer to form the Evolve Money Transfer brand. According to SVL, the company is targeting rapid growth in the space. SVL has over 1,300 retail agent locations across the island for its betting and gaming business. However, remittance agents would have to be certified by the Bank of Jamaica. Victoria Mutual Building Society says it has closed all its ABMs not located inside a VM branch. VMBS said the move, which went into effect last Friday, was triggered by an increase in attempts to steal or vandalize its ABM network. The company said customers will be able to use VMBS ABMs located in branch during normal business hours. Outside of business hours, customers can access their funds at over 800 non-VMBS ABMs on the Multilink network. The company said that it will be waiving fees for these transactions. The Chinese economy recorded its first period of negative foreign direct investment in decades. Foreign direct investment for China in the second quarter of the year came in at roughly $5 billion, an 87% decrease and the largest drop since 1998. Economists say that the data is another sign that Beijing's economy is recovering slower than expected after the pandemic. They said that conducting business in China, which is the world's second largest economy, is becoming increasingly difficult, and the country's economy is unquestionably in rough shape. The Actors Union in the United States has approved a deal that will end the longest actors' strike against the film and TV studios in Hollywood history. The 118-day strike officially ended last Thursday and will see actors having protections against artificial intelligence and a historic pay increase. The 4-month-long strike is estimated to have cost the U.S. economy roughly $6 billion. What's Hot was brought to you by JMMB Group, your best interest at heart.
Learn strategies to create amazing content that will stop people from scrolling and actually pay attention to you. Build a loyal audience excited to share your content and make it go viral. Make money on social media and run your platform like a business. Join me live inside Money Missions for this game-changing course, Money Marketing. And remember, go to the link in my bio and tap Money Marketing for 40% off. Let's get this money.
This segment of Taking Stock is brought to you by Bulwark Insurance Agency, insurance made easy.
Well, good evening, Rotaractors and Rotarian honorary. It's my pleasure to be here with you today. Anybody know, have ever heard about me before this evening? Y'all follow me on social media? You do? Well, then you have to give me a proper introduction then. You can't sit on there and not say, let's get this money. All right, 1, 2, 3. I have to do the hand signal too. 1, 2, 3. Let's get this money. How many of you are students? Any students? The rest of you, are you're working or looking for work, or what's the situation right now? Most of you are working. All right, and you're fairly young, so you're in your first or maybe second job, right? How's it going? I hear a chuckle. Yes, trust me, I know how it is, been there, done that, right? So when I was in high school, I had this dream of becoming a journalist. Originally, I wanted to be the great Caribbean novelist. I wanted to be the next V.S. Nepal, the next Z. Edgel Bekalam or Sam Selvon, and just write beautiful stories for people to enjoy. And then somewhere along that line, somebody told me, who's going to pay you to do that? You're not ever going to make any money doing that. But I also, because my father was and still is not a political activist, a union activist, a trade union activist, I also grew up having a sincere interest in current affairs and human rights and social justice. And so I said, well, how can I merge this love of writing with social justice? What can I do that can make a difference in the world? Because I grew up thinking, money's the root of all evil, and you shouldn't just work for money and do something that you love and you'll never work a day in your life and all that good stuff, right? Sound familiar to anybody? Yes. So I came up with journalism. I get to get paid to write, which I love doing, and also pursue the human interest side, human justice, social justice. And I quite enjoyed that job. I still do. I'm still a journalist to this day, just a different type of journalist. So some of you, maybe you're too young, or maybe you were younger when you saw, anybody remember Tivoli incursion? I reported on that. I was down there dodging bullets at Tivoli Gardens on Spanish Town Road. Anybody remember the Duppy story in Spanish Town? But the little boy who was on the chair and the Duppy pulled his leg? That was my story. So I've done all kinds of stories throughout my career. I've interviewed prime ministers and presidents and reported on elections, hurricanes, numerous. Don't think I've ever reported on an earthquake, but I would have if I was still doing that kind of reporting. And I really, really enjoyed my career. Before I went out on my own, I was on Nationwide News Network, Cliff Hughes. I was host of Nationwide This Morning for 6 years. Really, really enjoyed my job. Got awards for it from the Press Association of Jamaica, and was on TV and on radio. Glamorous job, right? right? But would you believe that when I was on TV, I still had to take the bus home? I still had to walk on the road at 9 o'clock at night after the news is finished and catch JUTC bus and go home with my full face of glamorous makeup. And people would stop on the road and beg me, miss, begging some money for bus fare. And I'm like, you not see me taking bus too? Like, me and you are in the same position right now. So I was a professional success, but a financial failure. And it is a big, big challenge in Jamaica and many other places as well. People are, you're doing fairly well, but you're underpaid. You're underappreciated. Anybody can relate to that right now? Is that me? Yeah. It is a huge challenge even as you get older. So you do make some improvements. You get promotions. But, the struggle is real. You have bills to pay. The more you move up in life, the more expenses you also have, because then you want to buy a car. Tired of catch bus. You're tired of walk in sun hot. And then you want to buy a house. And you have to save up for that deposit. And then you go have children. And I had children early. I had my first child when I was 19. I was a single mom for several years till I met my now husband. The best husband in the world, by the way. And kids are expensive. Anybody here have kids? They're expensive, though. Expensive. At one time, my daughter, who's now 20, I remember when she was in prep school. And, school starts September. And she came home one day, October morning, with her shoes bust up. I'm like, 1 month into the school year at school? How? Were you kicking rocks at school? Like, what happened? And now I have to go find money to buy brand new school shoes 1 month into the school year. So it is rough out there, unless you are prepared. And the thing about me is, because I grew up hearing all these things, I grew up hearing to be successful in life, study your book. That was my dad's mantra. Study your book, study hard. And then, so study your book, do well in school. Once you do well in school and get good grades, get a good job. Once you get a good job, you work hard in that job. So you keep that job, you get promoted, and then you save your money, right? Sounds familiar? And you will be successful in life. I did that. Any of you doing that right now? And would you consider yourself successful? Not yet. You're getting there, you're getting there. It's hard to save. When people tell you must save your money, but then all your expenses are taking you to the brink, to the last dollar, it's like, save what? Where should I get it to save? You're telling me to do this and do that with my money, but the money just isn't enough. And so for the first 35 years of my life, I should say the first 15 years of my adult life, from like 20 to 35, that's what I knew. And that's what I lived by, trying to make it meet, trying to, make things meet for myself and my child. Around that time, I just got married as well. And it was what it was until I started moving into the financial journalism world. And I started seeing how these money people move. And I'm like, well, hold on. If they're making all this money, and I'm here just reporting about them making all this money, why don't I just do what they do and also make some money? Why am I only telling their stories? Why can't I be a part of the story? And around that time is when Jamaica started performing exceptionally well on the global stock exchange. I should say on the global markets. The Jamaica Stock Exchange was the #1 performing in the world in 2015 and 2018. And people were making money over money over money. One stock, for example, Barita, I think it was 2018, gave average returns of 900 and something %. I want to, nobody gasped. So maybe you don't understand what 900% return mean. That means if you invested $10,000 in January, at the end of the year, that money was almost $100,000 without you having to do anything. Nothing at all. That's completely passive income. And on top of that, you also earn dividends. And so I started seeing these stories. I'm reporting on these stories. I'm like, hold on, no, I need to start doing this myself. This is not just for the wealthy, because on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, you can get started with as little as 1,000 Jamaican dollars at some brokers, some firms. My Rotary friend over here at JMMB, what's their minimum? I think it's 10,000. 10,000 Jamaican dollars. You can, but you have to open the account first. So minimum $10,000, and you can then, after that, buy one stock. And most of the stocks on the Jamaica Stock Exchange cost less than 100 Jamaican dollars. So a lot of people have this misconception that investing is for the wealthy, it's for rich people. But I say to you, investing is not only for the wealthy, investing is how you become wealthy. And that is one of the keys to wealth creation. So along this journey, I started feeling like, hold on, no, I'm starting to figure out life, because I didn't know this. I thought you just save your money, but it is almost impossible to save your way to wealth, especially when you don't have much savings to begin with, when your expenses are pretty much everything that you earn and then some. So first key to wealth creation, investing. I see some people writing down. Okay, good. Take notes. First key to wealth creation is investing. Second key to wealth creation now, entrepreneurship. And guess what? A lot of people, and I was one included up until the age of about 35, 36, I was one of those people who believed that your income is limited to what somebody pays you. When you get your salary, you get your pay, that's what you have to work with. And I never stopped to think outside the box that there are other ways that I could actually earn money. You're not limited to your income. You can start a side hustle. You can start investing and earn dividends. You can do so many different things. You can go on Fiverr now, Upwork, and get paid as a freelancer. You can start a business. You can invest in a business. You can start a business and get somebody else to run it so that you don't have to do all the physical work all the time. But there's so many different ways that you can earn income in addition to your job. So I'm not saying go out and quit your job, because I started my business when I was still working a 9 to 5, or in my case, 5 to 1, because I was on morning radio. It had to be there at 5 a.m. Shift ended at 1 o'clock, which gave me all afternoon to work on my side hustle, fortunately. But then I also had a baby, so technically it did not give me all afternoon because I have the baby to deal with as well. But when you are motivated, you find a way. When you have goals and aspirations and dreams, you find a way and you deliver that time. So the thing about entrepreneurship is it will take a lot of your time, immediately and in the long run, because it may take years before that business starts paying dividends or starts doing well enough to really pay you consistently. So it will take a lot of time, but it is a very, very amazing key to wealth creation if you can own businesses. Just this week I was talking to Michael Leachin. Anybody know Michael Leachin? What you know him for? NCB billionaire, US dollars billionaire, not just Jamaican dollars. And he was telling us, because he was on one of my shows called, I'm doing a feature with him called Ask Mike, and he was telling the group that his keys to wealth creation include buying businesses, knowing them extremely well, knowing the industries extremely well. So don't just go buy anything that you don't know nothing about. You have to know them extremely well, or at least come to know them, holding them for the long term, and using other people's money to invest in these businesses, meaning borrowing. We're going to come to that as well, talking about debt. Anybody scared of debt? Anybody have debt, like credit card debt? Yeah, or other kind of debt. Yeah, it's rough out there. That's another thing. So yes, entrepreneurship is the second key to wealth creation. And then the third key is real estate. So owning property, and when I say real estate, I don't just mean your own home that you live in, but also real estate for an investment purpose. So there's so many ways to make money in real estate. You can flip. Anybody heard about flipping houses? So you can buy a rundown property, renovate it, fix it up, and then sell it again for a profit for more than you paid for it. You can do Airbnb, so short-term rentals. You can do long-term rentals and collect the rent every month. You can buy and hold and sell years down the road when the value of the property goes up. You can do commercial rentals. You can have a space like this, chop it up into units and rent space to business people. So there's so many ways to make money through real estate investing as well. And throughout history, real estate has been one of the most profitable and consistent ways of generating wealth. From slavery days, go down. What you always hear about the wealthy landowners. Landowners were the people back in the day who could vote. You couldn't even vote if you didn't own land. That is because it was a measure of wealth, and it still is today. The challenge with real estate investing is it takes a lot of money up front. So entrepreneurship will take a lot of time. Real estate will take a lot of money. The reason I like stock market investing as a place to begin your journey towards wealth creation is that it doesn't take a lot of time and it doesn't take a lot of money. Like we just discussed, you can start with as little as 10,000 Jamaican dollars, not even that. Some places is even less. At some firms, you can open your account with no money and just put money in later on. And like I said, the average price of the stocks, less than 100 Jamaican dollars. So it doesn't take a lot of time necessarily, unless you want to dedicate a lot of time to it, and it doesn't take a lot of money. And then the great thing is you can progress along this chain, which is exactly what I've been doing over the past 5 years. So I started out as a stock market investor. As I started making money from that, I used that to invest into my first business, which is what I'm doing today, Kalilah Reynolds Media, soon to be known as Money Media. So we have Orain there who works for us. We have Izzy here who works for us as well. And we have other people back in Kingston. We have equipment. As I make money, reinvest it into the business, right? So moving from earning funds, earning money from stock market investing, then investing into my own business, and then the most recent chapter now is purchasing our first property, which my husband and I very, very recently did. We bought a house in Ingleside, which is going to rich people area though. Yes, yes. Living with the doctors and the lawyers and who else live there? Politicians, I don't know. And the big wigs, and the Rotarian, the Rotaractors. I mean the Rotarians. And the president of Rotaract. So Ingleside you live, boss? Yes, right. So you move along the chain and you have various elements of wealth creation, but we got to talk about debt. So I mentioned debt before. Michael Leachin saying you want to use other people's money, but how many people are scared of debt? And you hear that debt is bad, and you mustn't borrow, you mustn't owe people money, and just all these never ending. And how many people have had bad experiences with debt? I'm raising my hand because I had bad experiences with debt. For me, it was credit card. Because let me tell you a story. I bought my first car. This was in 2012. Bought my first car. And when I bought this car, the loan officer said, let me give you a credit card. Because when you own a car, you always have all kind of random expenses. You're gonna need gas. You're gonna need insurance. I didn't even think about insurance. Insurance, fitness. What's the next one? Insurance, fitness, license, registration. You have all of these additional expenses. I had like exact money to just buy the car. I didn't have money for the insurance, fitness, and registration. So the credit card came in handy, and thus began a very, very slippery slope with debt, with credit card debt. Not only that, I got my shiny new credit card, and guess what I did? I walked across the street to Style Savvy Boutique. And I was like, ooh, this is nice. Give me that, and that, and that. And I went shopping. Swipe it. And then when school fee time came, guess what I did? swipe it. And normally, before I had the credit card, what I would do is I would save up for the school fee, because it was like $75,000 a term at the time. At prep school in Kingston, expensive. So I would save up like $25,000 a month and just put that aside for the school fee. Well, I was like, well, no, I don't have to pay that all at once. Swipe it. And very soon my credit card was maxed out. And I had, what the bank says that you just have to pay the minimum payment, right? Just pay the minimum payment. And if your credit card is $100,000, your balance is $100,000, the bank might say, just pay, how much is the interest? Oh, just pay $2,000, $3,000, just give me $3,000, you're a good man. What I didn't realize is that the interest rate on that credit card was, anybody can guess what the average credit card interest rate in Jamaica is?
49.
Oh, that's not even a guess, you already know. It's about 49, 50%. Those interest rates are very, very high. And so when you are paying the minimum balance, and guess what they do? They're very, very sneaky with it, right? So you have your principal repayment on your loan, and you have the interest portion of your loan. They don't separate it. So you don't realize that the majority of your $3,000 minimum payment, if not all, in many cases, is only going towards the interest. And you never repay that principal. So you owe $100,000 forever, and it keeps going up because the $3,000 is actually less than the interest that you accrued. So the interest you would have accrued on that $100,000, and I'm just using numbers loosely here, but let's say the interest you would have accrued on the $100,000 was $4,000. But they're telling you, just give me $3,000. Which means that you still owe the full $100,000 and you still owe them an extra $1,000 on interest. So you never pay off that principal balance, and your balance actually keeps going up. So even though you paid them $3,000, that doesn't mean that next month you owe them $97,000. Next month you owe them $101,000 because you never paid anything towards your principal, and the interest keeps going up. And this happens over and over and over until I finally figured out this don't make no sense and started trying to find a way to do something about it. Now, most recently, I have created a community, and you heard it in the bio that I wrote. It's called Money Mission. And I realized that we needed a community of like-minded individuals, people who all want to create wealth. And I feel like that's everybody. Everybody wants to create wealth. Everybody wants to learn more about money. But I don't know everything. Even as much as I've learned over the past 5 years, there's a lot that I don't know. And there's a lot that I don't know that I don't know. And that is the biggest part of ignorance, when you don't even know that you don't know this information. Because for the first 35 years of my life, I didn't even know that I didn't know. I didn't even know that I needed to go seek this information. All I thought I knew was work hard, get a good job, save money, buy a house. And that never added up in the equation for me until I started studying this stuff. And so I created Money Mission for people to come together and share ideas and resources to create wealth and prosperous businesses. One of our courses is called Debt Do-Over, or Done with Debt. I think it's Done with Debt. And we talk about this whole debt issue, how you can get out of debt. And not only that, but how you can use debt the right way. So I spoke about Michael Lee Chin saying use other people's money, because what I came to realize is that debt is not inherently evil. You just have to know how to use debt the right way. I've come to really love credit cards. I hated my credit card at that time. I've come to really love credit cards because it can serve as an interest-free loan for a period of, let's say, 3-4 weeks until you pay it off at the end of the month. I've come to love using other people's money because it gives you cash flow for other things. So you might end up paying more in the long run, yes, but it frees up your cash now to do things like investing, which is what Lee Chin did. Do you know the story of how Michael Lee Chin made his first $1 million? You guys need to watch my interview with him. So he was, I think it's an insurance advisor in Canada. And he actually borrowed 500,000 Canadian dollars to invest in a firm called McKinsey. And 4 years later, that 500,000 Canadian dollars was worth, I think it's like 8 million. All because of other people's money. He did not have the money to do that. Now, me and you might not be able to go to the bank and borrow 500,000 US dollars or Canadian dollars. Him near leeching. He was also making a lot of money at the time from his day job. But you can use the proceeds. I think one of the important lessons from that is that you can use the proceeds of your day job to fund your other wealth creation activities. So you can use your salary to invest in your business and to invest in stock market investing, bonds, and other financial instruments. I have another course called Investing for Beginners, and one coming up on Monday called Money Marketing, which is all about how to make money on social media, which everybody's trying to do right now, right? Everybody wants to be an influencer, but do you really want to do it just for the clout, or do you want to do it to make money? I can teach you how to do it to make money. So talk to me after this, I'll hook you up, all right? But yeah, so let's recap. What are the 3 keys to wealth creation? Number 1, investing. Number 2, entrepreneurship. Number 3, real estate. Awesome. And is that good or bad? Depends on how you use it, right? Debt can be a very good financial tool in your wealth creation toolbox, right? So you can use it however you want to use it. So, does that help? Yes, no, maybe so? You're not sure? What are you still struggling with right now?
I think for young people, it's kind of hard battling inflation.
Inflation.
Cost of living, because you make budgets, you like that, okay, this is going to be what you invest or save, and this is your fund money, and this is going to go, but then like 3 months down the road, your whole budget gets thrown off because when you go to the supermarket, it's like 2 times the price.
Absolutely.
In January. So I think like that's even one thing that's kind of hard.
That is a big, big challenge. So you guys know what inflation is. Cost of living gone up, right? Increase in the cost of goods and services. Last year, something cost $100. Patty, perfect example. How much for patty now? I don't even look, I don't even ask no more. I was getting my card. Close my eye, because $300? 300 and something? Oh my goodness. $330 for 1 cheese patty. And that's no drinks? No drinks, no cocoa bread, no nothing. $330. Last time not even the crumbs. The last time I can remember, like what patty cost, it was 100 and something. Like back when I was budgeting to the penny. I had to have exact money, like for taxi fare. I know I can have 1 patty today, you know, and a drinks if I get a fresh box juice, but I could also get a bag juice on the road for like $20, and that will do the trick, you know. Them kind of way, the struggle is real. And so one of the things that we talk about inflation, you have to find strategies in today's environment to beat inflation. And that is why saving your money is just not enough, because $100 last year can't buy the same thing this year. What $100 could buy last year, 10 years ago it could buy a patty. No, it can't. Last year, $200 could buy, $250 maybe could buy a patty. And no, it can't. No, it raised to $3 something. So if you want to beat inflation, you have to use different strategies to make sure that your money grows. So this year right now, inflation is about, I think, 7%. 6 point something percent. Last year it was 10%. So 6% inflation means that if $100 last year, something that cost $100 last year costs $106 this year. That's what 6% inflation means. You need to find strategies to make your money worth more, to make your $100 worth more than $106 this year. And if you're simply saving it, whether under your mattress or at the bank, it is not going to be worth $106 this year. It's actually going to be worth less. If you're saving it at a bank, it's not even going to be worth $100. Because guess what? The bank is going to take out their fees. And every time you swipe your card, it's a fee. And every time you go to the ATM, it's a fee. And so the $100 in the bank is not even worth the $100 anymore this year. So you need to find strategies to make your $100 worth more than $106 this year in order to beat inflation. And investing, entrepreneurship, and real estate can help you get there. Start with the baby steps. Start with the cheapest and the easiest, which is stock market investing. It's not doing so great this year, I'm gonna admit. You're probably gonna lose some money this year, but investing is best for the long term.
This segment of Taking Stock was brought to you by Bulwark Insurance Agency, Insurance Made Easy.
Hey moneymakers, join the KRM fam with our official merch. Get it now at KalilahReynolds.com. Let's get this money.
The JC Combined Index was up 1,500 points last week, or 0.5%. 123 stocks traded across the main and junior markets for the week ending Friday, November 10, 2023. 45 made gains, 66 lost value, and 12 stayed the same. 71 million shares changed hands on the Jamaican dollar market, valued at $568 million. Trans-Jamaican Highway was last week's most traded stock. It took up 18% of market volume with 12 million shares trading. The stock gained 2 cents to open the new week at $2.61. Wigton traded at the second highest. The stock lost 3 cents to open this week at 70 cents. And Carreras rounded out last week's most traded with 7 million shares changing hands. The stock gained 3 cents to open Monday at $8.15. Now let's see who had the biggest gains for the week. JC newcomer AS Bryden's was the market's biggest gainer. The stock was up 31% to open Monday at $29.55. Berger Paints had the second biggest gain last week. The stock was up 15% to close the week at $7.41. And MPC Caribbean Clean Energy was up 15% to open the new week at $93. On the losing side now, Cygnus Real Estate Finance USD was the week's biggest loser. The stock lost 3 cents to open Monday at 7 cents US. Epley Caribbean Property Fund was the week's second biggest loser, opening the new week at $33.50. And Margaritaville Turks USD lost 14% to close the week at 11 cents US. Over on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, the composite index was up 1% last week. National Flour Mills was the most traded stock. The stock gained 10 cents to open this week at $1.63 TT. Grace Kennedy was the biggest gain of the week. The stock was up nearly 8% to start the week at $3.66 TT. And on the losing side, Unilever Caribbean fell 7% to open Monday at $10.64 TT. Over in the US, the Dow Jones gained 0.5% last week. The S&P 500 gained 1%, while the Nasdaq was up 2%. Motorists got a win at the pumps last week. The cost of 87 gas dipped $1.30, while 90 lost $1.27, while the price of regular diesel fell 14 cents and low sulfur diesel fell 33 cents. In foreign exchange, it took an average $156.90 Jamaican to purchase $1 last Friday. That's 28 cents less than the week before. Meanwhile, it took an average $113.73 Jamaican to purchase $1 Canadian. 1 British pound cost on average $191.93 Jamaican, and you could buy €1 for $170.79 Jamaican on average. Finally, on the crypto markets, Bitcoin prices were up 3% over the past 5 days, trading at $36,911 US on Monday, while Ethereum was up almost 8%, trading at $2,038 US on Monday. This segment of Taking Stock, The Analysts, is brought to you by JMMB Group, your best interest at heart. Disclaimer: this is not intended as financial advice. Please consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Yeah, milk claves.
Okay, good night, viewers. Good night, David. Good night, Kalilah and team. Kirsten, thanks for having me. Thanks for having GMB as a sponsor and also present on your program. We really appreciate it, and we give value to our clients as well as to your viewers. Okay. Now, today I'd like to speak on, there's opportunities in the market space, in the equity market in particular. And that presentation by Kalilah spoke much about entrepreneurship, investments, and taking a little bit of risk. Well, the markets are a little bit risky now in the sense that interest rate is high and therefore prices of securities have fallen. Shorter term instruments now, newly issued instruments are doing well because they're paying the higher interest rate. Those older instruments that were structured in the lower interest rate regime, those prices are falling off, especially if they were fixed because they're paying a lower coupon than presently, most recently issued instruments. So all asset prices are falling off, but there's still opportunities in the marketplace. Particularly, just recently, a new company was listed by invitation, AS Bryden Holdings Limited. It's a company incorporated in Trinidad. Most of its business is based, that is its revenue generating, is generated from, earnings come from Trinidad, the Trinidadian market. It also has a presence in Guyana as well as Barbados. Now, what is AS Bryden? It has several subsidiaries. It's largely a company that retails and markets various brands, international brands as well as own brands. Right? It is largely in the food business, motor vehicle. It is also in transportation and broadly, and it also retails and sells machinery, lubricants, and other type of equipment of that sort. Right? So it has tremendous opportunity. It was recently listed in Jamaica on the Jamaican Stock Exchange at a price of $22.50 Jamaican. Some of the basic metrics of this company. Well, let me do a quick thing. It distributes food, pharmaceutical, hardware, household, and industrial equipment through several of its subsidiaries. That's about 3 or 4 main subsidiary companies that it does this business through. It has ownership stake in several other entities. Its presence is largely in Trinidad, where it earns about 95% of its revenue, and also Guyana and Barbados. It has listed in Jamaica because there's a tremendous opportunity for that company in Jamaica here. Now, when it came public at a price of, in Jamaica, just last Friday at a price of $22.50. By the close of trading, it had gained over 31% in value. That is the value that the market has placed on. For 2 reasons, the company intrinsically has good value. That is when you look at the financial statement and do your analysis, when you look at the potential projected growth in revenue, you'd kind of value the company going forward. The market thought that it had value and they were willing to pay more than the $22.50 it was listed at. So it traded as high as $29 plus, over 31% above. It has more or less maintained that price, that value. It has fallen off just a little bit yesterday, Monday, to about $28.99, and it has maintained that price today. But we expected that to happen. When it came public at an earnings per share of $2.23. That is tremendously good, right? When compared to the general Jamaican market. It came public at a price, PE, price over earnings per share, PE ratio of 10.2 times. What does that mean? P, you're paying 10.2 times, or $10.20 for every $1 profit. You're paying $10.20 for each share, for every $1 profit generated by that same share. Okay, so a PE of 10.4, when the average market on the Jamaican Stock Exchange, in the main market, the average PE was 11.14 times. So it was cheaper than the average stock on the Jamaican market. Right? And there are other metrics. The target price based on our one analyst was almost $27. The market has put further premium on that. Right now it has traded at 29. It may fall off a little bit, but nonetheless, I do not expect it to fall back to the $22.50 that it was listed at, because the market sees value in it for the prospective growth as well as for the relative scarcity of the stock, because they didn't issue shares, they simply listed it, and existing shareholders who already had it, they were the one who placed some on the market to sell. So those transactions generated, an increased price on the stock. What is this? The company? The significant owner in AS Bryden It's a conglomerate. Significant owner in Ace Bryden is Seprod. It is also related to the Muscle Group, which is a broad, significant, large, multi-billion-dollar conglomerate that operates throughout the Caribbean, Latin America, North America, and it has presence in Europe. Okay, that's a Muscle Group. So it is part of that group. It is largely owned by Seprod. There's a great amount of synergy that Ace Bryden expects to get from being listed on the Jamaican market. The first synergy is one, the relationship with Seprod and the sharing of technology and know-how, the leadership that Seprod will bring in terms of its manufacturing expertise and to explore additional opportunities in Jamaica. That's one of the reasons it comes to Jamaica, right? And again, as I said, Seprod is I think a 54% ownership in Ace Bryden, a majority ownership. Now, also being in Jamaica, they expect to gain further, drive revenue to establish further business and presence in Guyana, where now it earns about 3% of its revenue. With the discovery of hydrocarbon in Guyana as well as Suriname, then they hope to take advantage of that. And again, being listed, that partnership with Seprod and other entities, the ability, that could generate further, give it kind of that push to explore that market. Its corporate strategy is the expansion of opportunities by building newer markets and for efficiency and improvement of operations, right? Increase the market share and investing in technology and to boost their competitive advantage. Their dividend policy, they intend to allocate or distribute approximately 40% of the company's net profit. Of course, that's the dividend policy, but it is still subject to various other things that may happen. The market is fluctuating, and so they have to make decisions in the interest of the long-term sustainability of the company. But all being well, they will distribute 40% of net profit to existing shareholders. Some of the other benefits that they hope to get by listing on the Jamaican market is exposure to a wider shareholder base. That augurs well for any company. The potential for expanded market share for revenue growth. That is in the Jamaican market space where, as I've said before, the majority of their revenue presently is earned in Trinidad. A small fraction in Guyana and Barbados, not much. So Jamaica is a potential marketplace. And I think, again, having Seprod as a significant parent company and the technology, the expertise, the knowledge of the domestic market, the access to capital, that should help them tremendously in exploring and, growing its value throughout the Caribbean. Also, there's a building of synergy with the domestic capital market in order to raise capital. And that is one of the primary reasons many companies become public. Right? So all in all, it's competitive. What companies on the local stock exchange are closer in terms of the business lines? Well, there's Massey, which of course is primarily domiciled in Trinidad, but it's cross-listed across the 3 major markets in the region. There's also Seprod, its parent company. To a lesser extent, I would say GK. Further lesser extent, there are some other companies that are into the retail, processing, distributorship, merchandising business. But largely I would say Massey and perhaps Seprod and maybe Grace are like entities. Right? So those are comparative good comparison in terms of where do you allocate and how do you allocate your investable funds. Right? It also has intention. It is a private entity just listed on the Jamaica, well, previously a private entity just listed on the Jamaican Stock Exchange, so it's now a public traded entity. It also hopes or wishes or say they have intention of listing on the Trinidad Stock Exchange. That presents a brand new opportunity. The opportunity, we have spoken about that before, that being listed on the Jamaican Stock Exchange and the Trinidad market, sometimes the Bayesian market also, presents new opportunities. You can now move shares, same shares, from one jurisdiction into the next jurisdiction to sell. For example, you want Trinidadian dollars, you want to buy some Trinidadian stock, you can buy the stock here in Jamaica, Ace Bryden or any other cross-listed securities, move the shares to Trinidad on the Trinidad Stock Exchange and sell them there, then you can buy Trinidad stock. That's one. 2, if you want to take advantage of price disparities for various reasons, the same company, same security may trade at different prices in the both markets. Anything can cause that. monetary policy, fiscal policies, liquidity in both markets, the structure of both markets can cause this price disparity. Quite a few times, like now, quite a few of the cross-listed securities are trading at a premium in Trinidad. So you can buy them in Jamaica, send them where prices are fairly stable or perhaps declining, buy them in Jamaica, send them to Trinidad and sell them at a premium and get your gain. Of course, there's always some consideration, which is currency exchange rate. Can you convert from TT dollars back into Jamaican or via US back into Jamaican? That is always will be another consideration. Of course, to move shares from one market to the next, there's a minimum JC $40 fee. So you would want to know that the volume you are purchasing is sufficient to cover the per unit cost of moving those shares. That is that $40 minimum fee that the JC charges you. You'd want to spread it across a larger volume to make it feasible. If you buy $40 and you buy 40 units of stock, you have a fee of, well, that is $1 per stock unit, US dollar, to move it. If you buy 2,000, you have minimized that cost. But that is the opportunity presented for cross-listed securities. So let me quickly run into this and say AS Bryden and Sons Holding Limited. It trades as ASBH in Jamaica. It is listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. You go onto Moneyline, you will see the ticker code. You can purchase that stock, or the analysis, speak with the broker, ask them, is it recommended to buy now? Do I hold? Do I wait? How much do I buy? When is my entry point? But that stock is now available. And it seemed to be a solid company, a strong company that has good potential for growth, right? And there's tremendous opportunities for the company as well as for the investor base. That again gives us another opportunity, somewhere to put our fund, somewhere to generate wealth, and somewhere to to generate even cash flow in terms of dividend payment. And that is it for me. Thank you very much. The market still presents opportunity. Look out for opportunity. Keep watching this program. Speak to your broker and take care. Thank you. Over to you, Sir David. Over to you, David.
Hopefully Flow doesn't get active again.
Yes.
All right. So I guess it's my time, and a couple corrections, Clive. So Massey is only selling the JSC and TTSE.
Okay.
And for me, if I was considering to move shares to Trinidad to make some money, I'd do it probably to go to Carnival, make some money in Jamaica, transfer the shares on Trinidad, so I have some TTD to spend on there. It's money makes monetary sense. But let's get into the meat of the matter, and in this case, it being NCB Financial Group. So we saw on Friday disclosure that, come this Friday, November 17, that NCB Financial Group is intending to consider a dividend payment, to shareholders. And it's been the first dividend payment since May 2021, if this dividend actually does go through. This is a very symbolic dividend, just before the company considers a APO, bringing it to market. And it's pretty interesting to see, what will come about in the coming days, regarding that dividend. But on the flip side, what also to consider is the fact that there's another disclosure that came out yesterday that highlighted that Patrick Hilton and Dennis Cohen, have resigned as directors and officers of NCB Financial Group and its subsidiaries. And, their separation package alone is, material to NCB Financial Group's, fourth quarter performance. And for context, people, NCB Financial Group has a $2 trillion asset base on their balance sheet. They made $7.39 billion consolidated profit last quarter, which should have been June 30, $5.48 billion in attributable to shareholders. So, but it's a material impact. You're talking about a couple $1 billion as well. So let us see, what does come about with that. And I'm guessing, I'm not going to slightly see a dollar dividend. Probably lucky if we get a 50-cent dividend, which would have been the last payment that we saw back in May 2021. But let's see what Leachin has in mind for shareholders ahead of Christmas. And then the other item on hand, which we are discussing tonight, is VM Investments Limited, and in this case being its subsidiary VM Wealth Limited. So VMIL, which is a listed company, owns VM Wealth Limited, which is its subsidiary. And in their most recently released report, they're highlighting that VM Financial Group will be, issued non-redeemable, non-cumulative preference shares in VM Wealth, and VM Wealth will receive $1.5 billion in fresh capital, to further bolster its capital adequacy. So what does that mean? So just like banks, financial institutions such as brokers, for example, or as they would be termed, securities dealers, are required to actually follow through with having certain ratios in place. So in the case of securities dealers and banks, the minimum requirement from a regulatory standpoint is 10%. So in the case of VM Wealth, they say that this increase should actually push it from 18% to 24%, which is almost 2 times the actual minimum regulatory requirement. And this, injection into VM Wealth, is coming at a time when, you're seeing reduced fee income for, VM Wealth and in turn VMIL. You're seeing high interest expense, so the margins are smaller there. You're seeing, relatively higher costs, albeit, some level of containment in other areas. So this new round of this capital injection into VM Wealth, it's unexpected, and it's a good thing because we've seen with NCB Financial Group with NCBJ, JMB Group with JMB Bank, Scotia Bank, Jamaica with Scotia Life, JN Financial Group with different financial subsidiaries, that we've just seen continuous, capital injections into different financial subsidiaries, where financial companies, as different companies incur fair value losses, which impacts their capital ratios and so forth. And so for VMIL, whereas the quarter was relatively stable, and they saw an increase in profitability, which should have been assisted by its associates in Kingston Properties Limited. For the overall 9 months, net profit was down 44%, and a big part of that was just because in interest income and fees and commission income as well. But the reality is the party must go on, and we're likely to see or hear different developments in the financial sector as time goes on. One last thing to note, so with respect to preference shares, to oversimplify, they're similar to like regulated instruments, just above ordinary shareholders, and there's ways to make money off them. And one simple way is to actually buy it at a discounted price relative to its maturity price. So for example, last quarter preference share is $1.74, and maturity price is $2, and this preference share gives 9.9% dividend rate for the year, or it's the interest rate, I should say. So this is just giving a simple overview of how persons can take money off preference shares and get what you call a higher, more stable return in this environment where you're seeing reduced market activity in the stock market and other areas. Condolences to Kalilah, on the recent developments, and I look forward to seeing you guys in another 2 weeks. Go to those quarterly reports, and I'll see you around.
This segment of Taking Stock, The Analyst, was brought to you by JMB Group, your best interest at heart.
And she's now established herself Jamaican Oprah.
You get a t-shirt, you get a t-shirt, you get a t-shirt. Everybody gets a t-shirt.
My name is Nicholas Samuels. I joined the Money Mission. I'm here at the Money Mission event tonight, which was absolutely awesome. The whole idea of joining Money Mission in the first place is to come and be a part of a like-minded community of everybody that wants to get some wealth, wants to do better financially, as well as to be in the one central place that has a lot of information about finances, right? One of the things that a lot of persons I know that don't benefit from is persons that are teaching financial education, as well as teaching how it is that you can make wealth and generate income from multiple sources as well. Typically, that's not something that you will find unless you go out and seek it. And what Kalilah has done in creating a Money Mission community is absolutely awesome.
My name is Anita Bailey. The reason I joined the Money Mission is because during a very hard time in my life last year, I just completed my master's. I had quite a number of debt from that master's program, and Kalilah came to my organization. We had a session where she introduced us to how to budget, how to manage our money, and also how to invest. And through the tools that she gave us on that day, the tools and the templates that she provided me, I was able to set up my budget, organize my life, all my income streams, what my credit card debts are like, and how to manage that. And I was able to get out of debt by March the following year. So I took approximately 5 months. And this was something I was struggling with for maybe about a year. And with Kalilah's help, through the Money Mission, I was able to get through that. And I would advise anyone, if you're starting a business, you're looking to invest, if you're having challenges with your money, you're not quite sure how to manage your money as you're starting into the working world, Kalilah and the Money Mission is where you want to be. You want to sign up with our program because it is absolutely amazing.
Let's get this money.